Welcome into the video, welcome into the channel. Hope everybody's doing well out there. In today's video, I'm going to continue my coverage as far as PlayStation 5 Pro testing here on the channel. But for this video, I wanted to cover one specific question that I've seen pop up in my comments section on my last couple of videos while testing Black Ops 6. And what I wanted to do in this video is take that question and answer it and take it a step further and just show you what happens when I make changes to this setting for Black Ops 6. So to kick things off, what are you looking at for a display here on your screen? This is the 77-inch LG G4 with a PlayStation 5 Pro connected to it. And for the purposes of today's testing, I'm going to continue to utilize Black Ops 6 because that's where the questions popped up here on the channel. So what setting am I referring to? Let me just go in and show you how things are set up from PS5 Pro out of the box. So let's go over to settings here. We're going to navigate our way down to save data and game app settings. We're going to click that. And the question that I've been getting has to do with this game presets and more specifically this performance mode or resolution mode. And the question has been, how do you have yours set up when you recorded these videos? Do you have it in performance mode? Do you have it in resolution mode? Do you have it in game default? What's your setup? You can see here out of the box, PS5 Pro, this is gonna be how it's defaulted. Let's go in and test with Black Ops 6 how the non-120 Hz mode is impacted when I have it set as game default. So let's go ahead and back out. Let's head on over to Black Ops 6. All right, and as we get things fired up here, let's head into multiplayer. That way I can go to the firing range. So let's go to weapons, let's go to loadouts, click L3. And now I'm here at the firing range. And also what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the frames counter. That way you can just check out in real time what's going on. You can see here, I'm currently registering 98, 97 frames per second. I move around. And let me go ahead and click the start button and go into settings and let's take a look at how I have things set up graphically. So we click that. And as you can see here, this 120 Hertz refresh rate, I have it checked off. Now when I click this, you notice my frame counter jumps to 120. Let's back out. You see it's still at 120 as I walk around. Everything's stuck there, right? Let's go back into settings. Let's turn that off. And as we see here, the frames are now moving around. And there's one easy way to tell, even if I didn't have this frame counter pulled up, there's one easy way to tell for me whether this is in the non-120 Hertz mode or if it's in the 120 mode. And that's just me looking up right here. And on camera, you should be able to see all these like what looks like bugs or static floating around in here without even having this frame counter pulled up, without even moving. If I just walked right here and made these changes, matter of fact, I'm gonna do it in real time. I'm gonna go back in here, I'm gonna switch the 120 Hertz mode back on. Look at that, nothing going on, no static, no what I call bugs, just to be funny. Let's go back into settings, let's turn it back off. And they're back. So without even moving around and testing the motion, I would know whether this is in the 120 mode or the non-120 mode. But I know that's not the main point of the video today. I just wanted to show that in real time. The main point here is with the PS5 Pro out of the box, setting your game preset to game default, when the non-120 mode is selected, you could see here, you have a variable amount of frames here. You see what's going on there, the frames are jumping around. In other words, when you turn 120 mode off, this is what's going to happen. So now for the next part of the test, let's go back into game presets and let's load up performance mode and see if that changes anything. All right, so we're back here at the home screen now. The frame counter is still pulled up. You can see everything, it's 4K locked in at 60 now. So let's go back into settings. Let's find our way back down to game app settings. Let's go to game presets. Let's turn on performance mode. Let's back out. All right, so as we move back in, you can see the frames are now locked in at 120. Let's go back into multiplayer. Saw a little bit of movement there on the frame counter. Go back to weapons, loadouts, firing range. And you could see right away, the frames are still there, jumping around. You see the bugs here, right? That tells me that it's in the non-120 mode, okay? So let's see what happens when I go back to graphics and turn it on. Okay, you see it went to 120. Let's look up here. Everything's crystal clear. Movement feels good. From a resolution standpoint, things are not as clear as before, But let's do the same test we did before. Let's go ahead and go back into settings. Let's turn it back off. You see the frame, boy, that went to 50. That wasn't good. Let's back out, and you can see here, frame's starting to move around again, and the static is back. So for those of you that want to have your PS5 Pro set up in performance mode as the default, as you could see here, if you're going to play Black Ops 6, so as you could see, having your game preset default to performance mode has no impact to this 120 mode refresh rate toggle right here. I turn it back on, frames go to 120, static, all that stuff is gone. I go back in, just like when I first loaded up the game, the frames are moving around again, and you see all the static going on here right there. So as you can see, having it on performance mode makes no change. Let's go back out to the menu and change it to resolution mode and see if that makes any difference. All right, back out here on the main menu. Let's go back into settings. Let's go down to save data here. Game presets. Let's go ahead and move this over to resolution mode. Let's back out again. Let's head back into Black Ops 6. All right, as we're loading back in here, just like last time, the frames are now back in at 120 during the load up sequence here. And it does move around a little bit here as it moves in, but so let's head back into multiplayer. We're gonna repeat the same process as the first 2 rounds of testing. Let's go back into the firing range. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go straight here. You already see the static and the bugs flying around here. Let's go back into settings. Let's go back to graphics. Let's turn on 120 mode. Everything cleans back up there. Everything gets murkier here, but cleans up here. Let's go back into settings. 120 mode, let's turn it back off, and you see immediately the frames move and the static and the bugs are back. And everything cleans up as far as the resolution goes as I aim down sight and I look at things as far as detail goes on these dummies here at the end, or down line, sight line. So as you could see in this video, I have now shown you if you have your game preset, just leave it as game default. It has no impact on the non-120 mode. I changed it to performance. It had no impact on the non-120 mode, and I changed it to resolution. And just like the first 2, it had no impact on the non-120 mode. So if you're somebody who does play Black Ops 6, but you play other games and you're trying to determine which of those game presets, if I put it in performance mode, that's what I want it in, does that mess up how I have things set up in Black Ops 6 as far as the non-120 mode? As you can see here, it has no impact. It has no impact at all. So you are free to set up your game preset in any way you see fit. And if you want a game in non-120 mode on Black Ops 6 with the toggle checked off, it's gonna be the exact same as if you had any of those other ones checked on. So hopefully that answers your question well enough to see things in real time. So guys, I wanna thank you for all the questions and the comments I've seen and the interaction on my last few videos here as I'm doing my PS5 Pro testing. Really love that interaction, love the feedback. Keep the questions coming. So that's gonna wrap up the video. If you did enjoy the video, you found it helpful, etc., hopefully it answered your question, be sure to hit the like button so it gets circulated out to more people who might have that same question. And if you're not subscribed yet and you like this sort of content and you wanna see more, I'm gonna be doing many more testing videos when it comes to PS5 Pro games, checking out the differences between the base PS5 and the Pro Enhanced. Can I see a difference? Does it really make a difference? I'm gonna be doing these sort of videos, so if you're interested in that sort of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss that content. But with all that being said, until the next one.